not a researcher. I'm just a self-employed individual who happens to carry the title of physiotherapist. In Japanese culture, there's a concept called karada no hizumi, body misalignment. And starting around 2006, I became increasingly conscious of things like pelvic misalignment and jaw misalignment. Over the years, that focus gradually shaped my entire approach to treatment, until I arrived at what I now call misalignment correction. It wasn't anything special. I just kept chasing that one idea for a long time. I don't have a research facility or any special equipment, so what I'm about to share comes entirely from what I've observed in practice, the questions I've asked myself along the way, the research I've done on my own, and the accumulated experience of working with each patient one by one. The human body misaligns, and I believe that the very fact we can stand upright on two legs here on gravity-bound Earth is actually a result of the body having the ability to misalign. Think of it like Jenga. If one part of the structure shifts or skews, the whole thing falls unless something else compensates and finds balance. The body works the same way. To reduce load, some part of the body will misalign so the whole thing can stay upright against gravity. So if, say, L5 in the lumbar spine shifts for some reason, other areas, like T1 or the coccyx, will also shift to compensate and maintain balance. From my experience, there's quite a consistent pattern to how this happens. If I use an analogy, it's like the gears inside a clock. When one gear moves, all the others move in response. When I think about the mechanism behind this and observe how quickly it happens, it could partly be fascia, but I suspect neural reflexes play a big role. I see it as the stretch reflex and the body's postural control response. Wherever a part of the body shifts or misaligns, the muscles and surrounding tissue in that area harden. And when the misaligned bone is brought back into place, that muscular tension tends to ease off. However, if the misalignment has persisted for a long time, the hardness doesn't always fully resolve even after correction. I think that's because prolonged tension leads to changes in the tissue itself, and it doesn't return to its original state right away. Think of a sponge. A hardened state is like a compressed sponge, where the internal structures, blood vessels, lymphatics, are squeezed and circulation is reduced. I actually see this regularly in practice. The surface of a hardened muscle area can feel cold, or conversely hot. It can be more swollen than surrounding areas. There's always something different about it compared to tissue that has no issues. With experience, you start to recognize that difference immediately. When I looked into what causes pain, I found that certain metabolic waste products produced by poor circulation stimulate peripheral nerves and generate pain.
Poor circulation also causes inflammation, and the effects aren't limited to motor and sensory nerves. They extend to the autonomic nervous system, and I believe they even reach down to the mitochondria within the cells themselves. So I don't think the effects of body misalignment should be underestimated. When I say the problem stems from body misalignment, I'm sometimes met with a kind of skeptical reaction, like it sounds a bit fringe, a bit far-fetched, and I'm brushed off. But I think more and more people are starting to catch on. And as I've described above, I'm not just making this up out of nowhere. I believe it can be explained through the lens of physics and physiology. If the structure is working at a mechanical disadvantage, think of the lever principle. Excess forces like gravity are placed on it, requiring more effort than should be necessary. So it's easy to understand why a severely misaligned body would be difficult to move. But beyond that, I think once you recognize the existence of body misalignment, a lot more of what happens in the body starts to make sense.